Hello, smart fellas on the internet! Today I have a free-for-all for you guys, in which I play against some of my friends. And in this game you'll see some politics, working together, strategies for cooperation, and how to break through dreaming opponents. Moreover, there are some really great plays in this game that are really worth checking out. A small reminder that subscribing and liking will help me out in defeating my nemesis. So without further ado, let's do some Polytopia. Alright, let's take a look at this game we have here. Looking at the map, going from my first opponent here, one of my friends. They are playing Samanti, and Samanti here is in a very strong position. Now, the thing you want to know is that Samanti has a terrible time fighting on water, as you may get to see later. But they are the strongest tribe when they can just expand on land, and then when they get an advantage, they can basically overrun everyone. So they have a very good spot here. Now going over to my other friend here, they have a decent spawn. They are looking at, let's see, now they can actually see the fruits. Here, Imperius, they have a very strong spawn as well. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 villages here, which is a very sizable continent compared to all of our continents. I mean, if you compare them to this one big continent, but for the amount of villages that each of these tribes has, we are definitely, I'm playing Yadak, we are definitely the least favored in this situation here. And the bot is in a very peculiar position. They are surrounded by each and every tribe, and yeah, they are not going to have a good time. Also, the bot is IMO, which is not a good bot at all. So yeah, we are going to crush this bot easily, of course. Although these players are not pro players or in any regard, they can definitely beat up a couple of bots. I've done that multiple times, and I just wanted to have some fun with my friends. So that's one way that I really like to have some fun in Polytopia, is by just inviting some friends and playing a random game. In this case, it was a free-for-all that you'll get to see how it turns out. So I'm going to switch over to my perspective here. Let's turn on the fog and then just do my perspective. Alright, let's go. So we go for a very standard opener here. We go for the road. We see a lot of water already, which is really not our favorite. But we do find a village on turn 0, which we move on to, and we find a lot of water here. It was a possibility that there was a village over here somewhere because of these animals, but unfortunately we did not have that amount of luck. And I think I did not move this unit too perfectly. I mean, this is fine. Just following the coast to see whether or not we actually have port access, which we do in this city, fortunately. And our capital is most definitely landlocked, which is not great. We move over to find this village over here, which is very nice. And that means that we can use the triple road strategy, which, if you didn't know, the triple road strategy basically allows you to level up your cities, and resulting in 10 stars per turn at the end of turn 5. playing Yadak, which is really good. Okay, so here we see that we are definitely on an island, a very small island in fact, which is definitely not what you want to see when playing Yadak. So we go for organization here, pre-capture, and we can upgrade this city here as well as our capital. As you can see, this is it's a decent start. We haven't had the luck of being able to find a village early enough to also connect this one, but we do see that there's a whole bunch of farmlands over here, which does compensate for the lack of cities here. And of course, it's a free-for-all, so politics may ensue. We go for the ruin, we can upgrade our city over here. Nothing too special, we can link that up and upgrade it. We get a workshop because, well, there's not much use if we are on an island to get an explorer, so here at the end of turn 6 we are in a decent position, nothing too crazy. We still only have 2 warriors, which is not great, but it's fine. We got a population ruin, which definitely helps us a lot. And we get farming because, well, you want to get a giant to be able to negotiate some standings here. Looking at the score, we are also not doing too well. So we also get another warrior just in case there's like a landmass somewhere around, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Here we meet our first opponent, and I was texting with them, and I was like, "Welcome to the island of Yadak. What are your intentions?" And they were like, "I come in peace." And then I was like, "No." Because I needed some space to expand because I had nothing. And then I started popping giants, which was definitely my strongest bet to basically be able to win from at all. See, popping 2 giants at the end of turn 8, that is not something to be very happy about if you're playing against me. At this point, you really need to get yourself into a bargaining position to be able to try to sway off any offense of this army of 2 giants at this point, which is going to be even more next turn. Here we get sailing. We see that there's a village over here. That could mean that there's a landmass over here, which we could have actually gotten to with a bridge. And that would be very interesting, but I didn't decide to do that. Here our opponent here walks away. They're a bit afraid of that giant. We see a ruin, and we see that this village is not connected to anything. And then we start popping up another giant. Just because we need some way to dissuade our opponent from invading our 3 villages. Opponent here starts hitting us. That's a big mistake. That's a huge mistake. Also, we start to see that there's some burning going on over here. And knowing one of my opponents is playing Samadhi quite obviously, we can deduce that that's probably them fighting against the bot, which is a really fortunate situation for our opponent here, because they are playing Samanti and this is a continents map. So as long as they get to be the aggressive player, we are on the back foot, and we need to try to find a way to collaborate with Imperius in this case to fight off the Samanti aggression. We go with sailing, also always a good choice. We can upgrade that city, and we finally get our first explorer, which reveals that the bot is playing IMO and then it moves away, which is really unfortunate. But at least we have some information about our opponents. And at this point we are also in first place. We see a veteran swordsman, nothing too particularly interesting to us at the moment. We can see that the bot is probably going to get run over very quickly by Samanti, which means that we probably would be better off if we can just 2v1 against Samanti, because Samanti is terrifying, as you all know. Also, look at this. Imperius here decided to go with a diplomacy rush, which is hilarious in my opinion, because cloaks are funny. And we decide to start hitting the guy because, well, we really want to get some ground, as I said before. And yeah, looking at this, IMO also attacks us and starts building ports, a whole bunch of ports. And we need to get started on fighting on the water, which is going to be the next couple of turns. We reveal the cloak and we can kill that. Nothing too special. Our other giant moves in as well, trying to basically kill off a lot of stuff from Imperius, weakening their position here and trying to see what's going on further down the road, so that we might be able to still fight them, even though we probably are better off working together against Samanti in this case. I decided to go with a very bold strategy, and now I start seeing that that is not going to pay off. So I definitely made a mistake from a very strategic point. It would have been better for me to make a deal and start hopping, doing the island hopping, because that's one of the best things you can do against Samanti, is grab a whole bunch of cities that are on the water. But I didn't, because I was getting very bold and very aggressive towards Imperius in this case. We see that they have archers, which is terrible news for us. And we start thinking about, well, maybe we need to not be so aggressive with our giants. And I'm probably going to start backing off very soon. That giant is toast, as the kids would say it nowadays. We get navigation, navigables as I like to call it, and we start finally recovering some of our economy. And we also start moving back our giant, as I said before. We also want to try to find a way for us to snag up as many of these cities that IMO has going on from our opponents, so that we can start fighting them directly, rather than just being in a sort of phony war, as they would call it in the 1940s. This is a nice part. We can finally start getting some more explorers. Unfortunately though, this guy goes totally the wrong way, and that's just unfortunate. See a whole bunch of stuff going on. We can see that they are sieging that city now, and we really need to stop that, because if we can't get a hold on them, we need to, well, start doing the hard work ourselves. So this is the genius part where I tried to go for a siege myself with a defender in a rammer, which basically allows me to snag up this capital over here, as well as try to stall Samanti's progress in the area. Do some more economy work. Always good to do some economy work. All of these defenders are really working. They are going to finally allow us to get a foothold on this continent over here, which is going to be the center of everyone's attention basically, because well, Imperius can get to it very rapidly. Samanti is already on there, and we can get onto that continent as well. But yeah, we really need to do some work for that. All of these archers are getting really annoying, and they are very strong. Luckily though, we can start retreating, because we are not going to give them any value whatsoever, and we are just going to focus on this mainland as of now. You can also start seeing that our turns are going to take very long, because I was very desperately trying to plan out certain moves, because at this point I was fighting against the bot, Samanti, and Imperius all at the same time, and that is not a situation you want to be in, especially when you're not firmly in the first position. So you really need to start making some choices, you know. Either you strike a deal with either tribe, or you just need to get good and fight for yourself. So I start to get a bit desperate and start sieging all of these cities here, because well, we need to make a stand and just start sieging stuff. Go with the border growth. That's usually a good sign if you can go for border growth. Even though it doesn't work too well against tribes like Samanti, you can usually make some use out of more lands to your empire. Which I totally didn't do with all of these other cities here, except for my capital, but that's not the point. Snag some more cities, upgrade our capital again, get another giant. Do some more economy work. That's always important to start to basically keep upgrading your economy. Okay, they can unsiege and siege themselves, but that's all we see, as well as a cloak. A cloak. Very juicy cloak over there. Imperius is getting a whole bunch of value, ranged units. That is not something we want to see, and this is the point at which we are actually going to play 2v1, and that's not the nicest thing that your friends can do against you. We really want to find a way for us to slowly but surely take over this piece of land, while also keeping back Imperius, because they are building up an army, as you can see, and maybe we can trick them and basically get a whole bunch of value by doing some interesting maneuvering of our units. So that's exactly what we're going to do. You see me move all of my units into the enemy territory, which is not without reason. I decide to do that because if I can get all of my units into this territory and keep the city, then I will be able to basically kill all of the units that are going to be in this territory by promoting these units here, and then going from there. Okay, they can definitely kill my giant. And they are putting their shaman in such a aggressive position that we might be able to snag a kill on that guy by maneuvering properly. Imperius here is being very annoying, and they are basically going for the full-on army wars, which we don't have the resources for to fight on two fronts. So I'm going to retreat my giants from here, but also keep trying to stall as much as I can. Reveal the cloak, and we get an explorer from that ruin. We finally have a foothold on the continent, and IMO-bot is now officially destroyed. Now look at our position. We control almost half of the map, and our opponents also control half of the map, and they are now actively working together. I told them to do so because if they were fighting still, which they weren't, they would have not been able to fight against me at all. But you will get to see from here that there's a whole bunch of interesting plays that and strategy as well that are going to determine the rest of the game. We need to kill that stinky cloak, because cloaks are stinky. They smell like stink. And we need to fight Samanti from the water and Imperius from the land, which is incredibly interesting, because we are now fighting only on the water but not on the land here at all. We are just retreating because we just can't break through this. We don't have the resources to do that at the moment. It would be too costly and would give our other opponent a chance to fight us back, which we don't want. Okay, they get a sneaky kill. You know what? This is really hard to keep describing everything, but I'm going to try to give my best analysis for every move that's going to happen. Just some of the important parts. Basically what we're trying to do here is defend our land while building up a naval army that is going to be able to slowly but surely blast away all of their tanky units, and then with riders and or knights, if we can get to those, which is going to be very costly, we can then start pushing them back, and maybe, just maybe, if we get an opportunity, we can strike from here to there, because this way is a big no-no. But this way, they don't see that one coming. They don't see it coming. Spoiler. For now though, we just keep executing our plan that we have, which is just slowly but surely making an army and then pushing from there. They do a cloak hit. That's fantastic for them. I was talking to the Samanti player in this position, and he got very annoyed that I was building such a weird wall of defenders, and I was like, you know what? There's a reason I'm building a defender wall, because I can't break through, right? And I don't want you to break through either, so I need to somehow make a way for me to slowly but surely get some kind of advantage in this war here. Well, I keep stalling my other opponent, which we can do, because, well, bombers are the perfect way of getting a whole bunch of kills. Which is interesting, by the way, that when a bomber splashes, it also removes the aggro effect, which is really nice if you can think about that. Some interesting moves going on. We start building up an army in the southeast as well to try to get some hits in over here. Maybe able to get a knight soon, and then we can kill all of these squishy units with the help of this bomber. Okay, a couple of movements, nothing too special here. And once again, they are just trying to get so many kills by being so aggressive. Because that's the basic way that Samantha usually plays, is you need to out-aggro your opponent, but big spoiler alert, defenders are really good at fighting against Samantha because they need so many units to actually kill that you can't get that advantage through at all. And the other way around, it also works if Samantha is spamming a whole bunch of things and you reply with shields, and that's the way that this is going. But if you are the one spamming a whole bunch of riders, this is a really big spoiler, your opponent can also just respond with these toilet roll holding thingy spiky boys, and from there you can basically not get any value because you need to get into a defensive or at least ranged position, which Samantha is very strong at destroying. So there's a counter to a counter to a counter, and you need to encounter that encounter for you to counter that encounter. Makes sense, right? Which is scary that the Imperious player here is getting onto the land, onto the sea I mean, and we need to stop that from happening. And we find this cloak here, which is also very funny. And as I said before, we just want to get as many kills as possible, and slowly but surely with this defender wall we can, well, get a whole bunch of kills and a whole bunch of value. Which is incredibly funny to me. More movement, more movement. Of course they can unsiege. We are in a little bit of a stalemate. Nothing too spectacular. Imperius has a whole bunch of vision here, which I was unaware of, which is not too great. And they are slowly starting to build up their army and going onto the water, which we really don't want to happen. We get meditation, that's totally fair. We get philosophy here. Philosophy is very great in this position because we can now purchase all of these technologies that we're going to need, such as chivalry, and maybe even make use of some mind benders, which you will get to see. Unit movement, nothing too spectacular here. And you can see the writing on the wall here, right? We have such a huge army now that we can finally smash through everything that's going on over here. And with that, now that we know that this city doesn't have a border growth, we can place something over here that is going to destroy Imperius with one big swoop. Just go for the siege with the defender. It's always a good way to ensure the best outcome. And yeah, look at this. Just a bunch of movements. Nothing too interesting, but we train our first knight this turn. And our Samantha friend is desperately trying to defend, also training these other buggy boys, so that they can finally try to halt our advances, but they are too late. They can see the writing on the wall. Once you need to get into a defensive position, especially with Samantha, it's going to be your doom. There's no shot that you're going to win that. And here our opponents can do some nice hits and stuff. They can get a whole bunch of giants. But the trick here is we build a bridge, and that bridge leads to victory. Because oh, we need to kill that guy first because it's blocking our movement. There you go. Oh no, this other guy is also blocking the movement. Never mind. Never mind. Yep. Movement. Yeah, they are desperately trying to defend, but we are just slowly but surely building up our army. Okay, yes, they can get a whole bunch of kills, but here they make the mistake of giving me the chance to move onto this bridge by, well, making a weird semi-dry rammer friend on a bridge that should not be positioned like that. I don't know why it looks like that. It looks kind of silly. Hit it, then shoop, 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 and shoop, shoop, shoop. Promote. Hit that. I do it like this because this way allows me to actually siege with the giant. Which, well, now there's no way for them to unsiege without popping a giant, and even that I don't particularly see happening. And we can also move our bombers over there. And we can do basically the same thing over here. And this is just one big swoop that basically won me the game. I will let this go through for a little bit. You can also see the Mindbender. But I think that this was a very fun game to play, at least. I hope you also think that this was a very interesting game to watch, because, well, it was something else, you know. I usually play my 1v1s, and that is very enjoyable to me, but sometimes you need to switch things up, and I noticed that the views, even though that's not my main goal, of course, that the views for particular videos are not doing as great as they have been doing before. So I want to see how I can best make my content so that most of you can enjoy it and not get bored of it. Because, well, if I can get bored of Polytopia, you can definitely get bored of my Polytopia videos. So that's what I really want to say, is that, you know, I'm here to basically provide you with the content that you like, and I'm also going along with the ride, and I'm also enjoying making these videos, you know. That's the ultimate goal here, is that we are all being happy and having fun. So, yeah, as I let this play out, you can see that our strategy of popping a bunch of giants early on and then going for a very navally focused expansion towards Samanti, and then slowly but surely pushing back and looking for a hole in the defense of Imperius can lead to some interesting plays. Of course, there was a bit of politics here as well, which also made it very interesting to play, because it adds a whole different dimension to Polytopia, which is when you play with other people, especially people who are at a similar level, which I unfortunately don't think that these players are, well, they're good players, but they're not like Poly Champions level players. I think that once you can get to a point at which you have a couple of players at the same level, you can get some really enjoyable games that are not too competitive, but that are also just interesting to play, nonetheless. So that's really something that I want you to know, is that sometimes you need to switch things up, and from that you can get a very, very nice experience. Um, so yeah, I will let this rattle on for a little bit. Alright, so you can basically see how this game is ending up. We are just slowly but surely whittling down the last couple of units and then going for a bunch of sieges. I even managed to land a triple siege, I believe. Yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed this other different kind of video and that you had as much fun as I did with this one. So I might even do some more of these kind of videos. Maybe even do a challenge where I actually start off playing a 2v1 against some of my friends. Maybe even 3v1, something like that. That would be very interesting to see whether or not that is possible. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button, as they really helped me out. And with that out of the way, let's see the last turn here. I hope you all enjoyed. See you in the next one. Goodbye.